This video is about payment, and the reason for the video is, quite frankly, our websites really aren't clear on our payment terms, which is very remiss of us, but we've got so many websites, and to give you an idea, we have in excess of 20,000 individual web pages. It's kind of, to an extent, got out of control and become unmanageable, but we are addressing that in the we've got a new person starting next month, which is early July, and I'm actively looking for a third person to work in our IT department. But you know, we're not perfect, and I do keep saying that. But payment, let's kill payment, and let's not continue to bore you. You can pay by debit card, and if you've got a bank account and a checkbook, you'll have a debit card, and that's instant. You can pay by credit card, and credit card covers you, credit card payments rather, cover you under the 1974 Consumer Credit Act. Now the reason I mention that is, as I've said in other videos, I buy an awful lot of stuff on the internet, and I always pay by credit card, always. And I'm relaxed about it, because if the company fails or the company doesn't deliver, or within reason, and you've got to be reasonable, the product isn't as described, well then I get the credit card company to reimburse me. I've never actually had to do that. You know, I tend to find most companies are honest. I know there's this thing about, oh, it's the internet, it's the bogeyman. You'll always get people who are setting away a scam, and there's no way in the world you're ever going to get a product out of them. That's most certainly not what this operation is about. Credit card payments, we are charged approximately 2% for processing them. So I think it's reasonable to say, and we do say, if you pay by credit card, you're getting extra protection under the Consumer Credit Act of 1974, and it's going to cost you an additional 2%. Now let me go back on that, because some people kind of don't like that. But nobody has ever bought anything from this company, forgetting the internet, forgetting everything else, over 33 years. Nobody's ever bought anything off this company and paid for it and not got exactly what they wanted. It isn't the way I do business. So if you want the protection of the Consumer Credit Act, well, it's going to cost you 2%. It's not a fortune. But on the other side of it, we haven't had many bad debts, and I'm not going to go into this because it's a big subject. We've no bad debt reserve, and if you know anything about a company, I'll go and look up bad debt reserve on Google. It will tell you what it means. We've never had one, because I don't have bad debts. But we have been defrauded. So I can honestly say, nobody who's genuine and a genuine customer has paid money out has ever not received what they've paid for, ever. But I can say that we've been defrauded. We were a little bit naive in the early days of taking credit cards. In fact, we were very naive, and we soon learned to, one person ordered 6 of a product, and there was no way in the world people ordered 6 of this particular product. And we rather stupidly went through with the transaction. A guy in Glasgow, his name was something Singh, but it was an English name, Singh. Kind of, you know, like Brian Singh. And I hope there's nobody in Glasgow that I'm casting aspirations on, because I wouldn't wish to do that. And he ordered some mirror wardrobe doors, and one of our girls made an error And instead of the doors being 2 foot wide each, she ordered the whole thing at 2 foot wide. And this guy had the cheek to ring up and complain about it. We done new doors and had them ready for delivery, and I had a guy on the telephone, and it was about 5:05 on a Friday night, and I answered the telephone, and this guy said, "Why are you taking money from my credit card?" And I kind of have this thing where I lock things down. Who are you? What are you? Why are you? It transpires, a very nice man, very, very nice man. He said, and I firmly believe him, and the police believed him as well, so it's not a made-up story. He said that somebody had been spending money on his credit card, and it was this Mr. Singh from Glasgow, who seemed to be kitting out. I mean, wardrobe doors are what you put in bedrooms, but this guy had also bought an expensive bed and this, that and the other, and he appeared to have been kitting out a bedroom. Well, I'm not going to the full story, but we, through this guy whose credit card had been cloned, and I've had it 3 times now personally, so my credit card's been cloned. Through this guy, we ended up involving the police, and it was a kind of a sting operation where we said we would deliver the goods on the remade goods on a certain day, and it wasn't us, it was the police in a van, and they arrested him, and I have no idea what happened. I don't know, he probably got a slap on the wrist, and that's it. The other way of making payment, so you've got obviously debit cards, obviously credit cards, is BACS payments. So that's payments directly into our bank. We're very transparent. We have no problem in giving you our full bank details and who the bank is. It's not a problem. And then the last way is the old-fashioned way, checks. And we've kind of had to make a decision to keep our carbon footprint low. In other words, we're not running up to the bank every 2 minutes with a £100 cheque, which uses petrol and resources. We've kind of said, I believe the figure's 500 quid. So if the transaction's less than 500 quid, we won't take a cheque off you. Now, a lot of companies, far bigger companies than I have, will not take a cheque, end of story. But I kind of think, well, okay, 500 quid, it's worth somebody running up to the bank. But less than that, quite frankly, it isn't. And those are our payment terms. To tell you briefly a daft little story, because I'm fairly sure you can glean, I like the sound of my own voice, not sure you do, but I do. I had my credit card company on. Can I speak to Mr. Birmingham? I was actually working from home at the time, and my staff said no. What's it about? It's the MBNA credit card fraud department, and they kind of got a bit alerted and gave me a call. I rang the people. No, I didn't, I lied. They rang me at home, and I said, well, you're calling me. She wanted me to, she was a nice woman, but she wanted me to confirm security and ID and this, that and the other. I said, whoa, wait a minute. I said, you're calling me about possible credit card fraud. I said, surely I should be saying to you, you confirm, you tell me my credit card number, which quite frankly I don't know. Who does? You tell me my credit card number, you tell me what the balance is on it, you tell me what the last purchase was. Anyway, we danced around a little bit, because I was on alert, and it transpired that my credit card had been cloned. I actually know where it was cloned, and I rang the police, and they wouldn't do anything about it because somebody else, without going into the full story, somebody else had actually had their credit card cloned at exactly the same place. So I rang the police, but to come to the point of the story, these people, when the MBNA went into the various transactions, so they've got to ask, you know, have you been in Paris recently? No. Have you been on the Champs-Élysées recently? Years ago, but no. And what these people have done, and this is the way it works, they clone your credit card, presumably they sell it. America and Australia are good places for this because they haven't caught up on PIN numbers. So they sell your credit card, and they put through a transaction of about £1 to make sure the credit card's live. And then they go on the spending spree. And what these people had done before the credit card people were alerted was, what they'd done is they'd gone into a restaurant and had a good meal on the Champs-Élysées, and they'd also bought some expensive leather luggage on the Champs-Élysées. And my comment was, flippantly, because I'm not all serious, was, well, I hope it was a good restaurant, and I hope the luggage was of good quality, because I wouldn't want to be associated with anything that wasn't. And, you know, that's it. Now, the other thing about payment with credit card and debit cards that's pertinent, to get back on message, is we're in Durham in the northeast of England. We're dealing with people all over, well, we're dealing with people all over the world, which I'll come to on another video to bore you even more. But we're dealing with people all over the country, all over Ireland and the various offshore islands, Hebrides, Orkneys, etc., etc., etc. And very often, and this is nothing to panic about, very often we're given credit and debit card details. We put them through our terminal here, and they're declined. Well, the reason for that is, I'm assuming, I mean, I'm not an expert at this, but I'm assuming, and the people here have kind of reinforced this, is that you're a long way away from us, and this is an unusual transaction for perhaps quite a lot of money, and the credit card people put a block on it. And what has to happen, it's not personal against you, it's not saying you haven't got the funds, not in any way, shape or form. It's just saying, and it's for your protection, in fairness, and we're used to it, we're well used to it. You know, we don't think, ooh, this person's ordering this stuff and they haven't got the money. We're thinking, this person's ordered this stuff and the credit card people are looking out for their interests, and that at the end of the day is what it's all about. The way it has to work is, and it does happen on a regular basis, and it doesn't happen to me. It happened to me once in America, but we'll not go into that because that's another story. It happened twice in America, and you know, they're looking out for your interests, and there's this unusual transaction, and they want to make sure everything's okay. So the way that you get over this is to call your bank, your credit card company, whoever. That's the way to get over it. It's not a big deal. You've no need to feel in any way. I know when it happened to me twice, I must be honest, I was quite annoyed. It happened to me once in Las Vegas and once in Orlando, and I was fairly annoyed. But now I know a little bit more about it. You know, I realised that my annoyance was misplaced, and you know, that's the way life is. So if your credit card's declined, one of the girls will give you a ring, somebody from the audit team will give you a ring, explain it to you nicely. We don't think you're a bad person. We don't think in any way, shape or form you're a risk. It's the credit card people, to repeat myself, or the debit card people looking out for your interests. Dead simple. Well done them.